That's a good paradigm to start from because it's actually very interesting you say that. A lot of women say, I just want a man who's honest. And then the second you're honest, she's like, what? You did what? It's like, well, then don't ask me for all life. I don't think it's the biggest problem, but it certainly is a problem in relationships today. That is a problem. The biggest problem with men today is that I think the world is becoming hyper-competitive. Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. Not just finances, but also female status, everything else. And it's a status game, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for men to play. And that's all women's fault, of course. Women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high-status males are. So women men, of course they don't. If you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat and is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like they that most dudes are never going to have. And it's becoming harder and harder. And you end up with people, top G's who own everything on the planet they could ever possibly wish for. And then you got other guys who have nothing. And there's this large divide. There's no longer any middle ground. You have dudes who can't get any pussy, and then you got dudes who are just blocking girls left, right, and center. And that's what the problem with being a man is today. Society punishes men for not being self-accountable, but society does not punish women for not being self-accountable. I'll give you an example. If you're a man and you're arrogant and you think you're something when you're not, trust me, society will teach you very quickly that you don't matter when you don't get laid and you stay. If you're a chick and think you're something when you're not, you can run around with your ego, still get dates, still get laid, still have a fairly sensible social life. Society as a whole doesn't come along and slap you in the face with realizations. If you're a man and you think you're something you're not, it is a ticking time bomb until society teaches you a lesson. That's the difference. This is why men in general are more self-accountable, because the men who are not self-accountable get those who are successful are very self-accountable people. They look at themselves and go, okay, the only way I'm going to get and progress further, the reason she left me, the only way I'm going to do better, make more money, et cetera, is I have to change. Most women don't want to do that. They don't sit and think I have to change. They think, oh, he left me because it's him, and I lost my job because my boss, and this is this because of this. No, you women don't look in the mirror. I think what you have to understand is what men are looking for in a relationship. So you did the street interview, and you're asking single people, probably young people, probably idiots who know they're on camera talking shit about good head, all this garbage. It's bullshit. What men are interested in life, not just in their relationship, but in their life as a whole, is status. I don't think most people understand, especially women, how competitive the male world is and how competitive it is for status. This is why men do everything they do. Men buy the faster car, not to drive any faster, because of status. It's why we want a bigger house. We don't give a shit where we live. It's because of status. It's why I want to go to the gym and get big and strong, because of status. Everything we do is about status. It's why I want the better jobs. It's why I want more money. It's why I want to be respected. So what's the number one thing we want our female to give us? Status. That's what we want. So she can give us status by being beautiful. That's one thing she can do. But another thing she could do is if I turn up home and I come home with my boys and she says, I'll cook you all a steak. That's status. That's all my boys going, Ross, you just been out all night and she's here and she's going to cook for all of us and she'll clean up and tidy up. Boom. That's the kind of girl a man's not going to want to lose because it makes him look good. That's what men want. Status. Suck a dick, blah, blah, blah. Listen, actually a serious point, right? This is a very serious point because the Western world has collapsed in real time and it's a failed society. And one of the reasons it's a failed society is because of the over-sexualization, especially of females as a whole. If a woman comes up to me and goes, I'll be the best sex you ever had, I am vaulted. I don't want the best sex I've ever had. I want you to be pure and a virgin. You should know what sex is. Shut up. Don't come and talk to me about bile. It's disgusting. I don't want to hear that shit. What I want is a woman who makes me look good. No woman who's running around talking about sucking dick can make me look good. So I lose interest completely and utterly, and that's the truth. So what she's saying is completely correct. These are old school things, but it's not about the act. Yes, you can order food, of course. It's about the status that comes with it. That's what it's about. The idea that this 1% of men have created this terrible society. Yeah, I talk about that. I talk about the Matrix. I talk about these things, but it's always been this way. It's always been a small elite group of men who are in charge of the world. And unfortunately now, we're fighting battles in different ways. The days of old, a man proved his worth by going to war. Basically, every man at any point in his life was going to end up going to war, and he came back victorious, he came back with honor, he got himself a wife. That's how it worked, right? Now men don't have to go to war as much, depending on where you live in the world, and it's slightly different, and we fight our wars in other ways. And one of the true expressions of testosterone and trying to really express your ability and your combative ability now in the modern world is power and influence. So in the olden days, you'd go to war, you come back with a ribbon. Nowadays, you got X amount of followers, you can move the world with money. I can bend reality with money. Please understand, if I walk into Jimmy Choo, they lock the door. No brokies allowed in. Tate's here. I want. There's lines outside because I'm there. I bend the world with money. That's how the wars are now won. So you're talking about high status males, and it's always been that way. Now you have a whole contingent of men who aren't dead. Okay, they didn't die in a ditch, but they're lone. And that's the reality of it. And women don't give a should you? I'm not sitting here actually shitting on women in any way. I think women have a biological instinct to a degree to try and find the best mate they can because it gives them the highest chance of survival in the harsh realities of the world. And if they look at a man who's not capable, they just don't feel an attraction to him. And that's the bottom line of it. And that's why I actually, I'm largely misunderstood. I don't blame women for a lot of the problems. Women are guilty of certain things, but I have a massive amount of blame to place on men because there's so many men who are genuinely incompetent. If I was a chick, I would